All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 GIS-LIS Consortium Awards Ceremony. I'm Hal Watson. I'm chair of the awards committee. Each year, the consortium recognizes stellar individuals in the state through 4 awards, one aimed at each stage of a professional career. Today, as an organization, we recognize and we celebrate this wonderful group of individuals and hold them up as examples of what is possible in the Minnesota GIS-LIS community. So first, we are going to start with our Distinguished Educator Award. The Distinguished Educator Award recognizes active educators each year in K-12 or higher education who have demonstrated leadership, creativity, and enthusiasm for the effective use of geography and GIS to inspire and engage and prepare students for participation in the workforce and the geospatial community. This year's winner, Brianne Wegter, will be introduced by Stacy Stark. Thank you, Stacy.
Thanks, Hal. Brianne is a 9th grade geography teacher at Sauk Rapids Rice High School. And with guidance from Brianne, all of the human geography teachers at that high school now use the Minnesota on the Map competition model for their student projects. So she guides through herself and other teachers, hundreds of students through making story maps. All 9th grade students make at least one map, and story map is part of a Minnesota research project. And as a result, Sauk Rapids Rice High School has led the nation in the number of students submitting entry into the ArcGIS Online student competition, so both in Minnesota and the national competition. Brianne's participated in Educator Day. She gave a presentation in 2020, and also this year, just a couple weeks ago, she helped with a story maps workshop. She has done the Esri K-12 webinars and workshops for several years. And there is a YouTube video posted on our Minnesota GIS-LIS channel of her talking about her work from the last year's Educator Day. So Brianne is really a great mentor to other teachers and an inspiration to students. And she is regularly sharing this information with the GIS community. So for that reason, we are really happy to be able to award Brianne the Distinguished Educator Award this year.
Woo! Congratulations, Brianne.
Thank you very much.
Brianne, I'm going to stop sharing and let you talk, okay?
Go sure. Just thank you very much. I appreciate the award. It's been a really fun process and journey to explore GIS and see what it can do for our students, and just to see them grow in the technology as well as the problem solving and thinking skills that they can get from this technology has been a joy. So thank you very much, and I'm very honored to receive the award.
Thanks, Brianne.
Nice job. Very well deserved. Up next is going to be our Young Professional Achievement Award. This is a new award for this year. The Young Professional Achievement Award is intended to recognize individuals age 30 or younger who demonstrate an understanding of GIS community, technology, and concepts above and beyond what might be expected for a young professional. Up to 3 awards are made this year. This year's winner is Siona Roberts, who will be introduced by Jared Hovey. Neither Jared nor Siona could be here today, but they have prepared some videos for us, which I am going to present to you right now. Starting first with Jared. So give me 1 second to bring that up. And I will, here comes Jared.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining today. It is my honor to introduce this year's recipient of the Young Professional Achievement Award, Siona Roberts. Carleton County hired Siona, a recent college graduate, in the summer of 2018, and she was quickly placed within a fast-paced environment as the county responded to a natural disaster. Without hesitation, she took the reins of connecting internal and external departments and provided them with GIS information from map statistics that created an efficient and collaborative approach. I and many others instantly recognized that her work ethic, knowledge, and creative approach of GIS technology would pave the way for expansion throughout the county. Her involvement with various departments, having a polite and strategic approach, and an ability to communicate with non-GIS users has allowed for our user base and application development to expand tenfold. When the pandemic came, Siona once again stepped up, taking on a role within the incident command system. Through a once foreign department to GIS, Public Health and Human Services got a taste of GIS data and information. Siona promoted this with the use of our GIS Hub, Survey 123, and various other applications. And it worked, and they embraced it. A little quick story here is I recall the day that Siona came to me after an ICS meeting with this crazy idea about omitting paper vaccination forms and strictly using GIS technology to vaccinate individuals in pre-registration. I thought, what? That is one heck of a crazy idea. Well, the crazy idea turned into reality, and we made it work. And a large part of that was due to Siona. Her work ethic, upbeat personality, and supporting co-workers throughout the pandemic must be mentioned. Siona, keep coming up with those crazy ideas, because they're good. Your work has inspired countless others, led to many efficiencies, and connected once unrelated divisions. As a young professional, you stand out and well deserving of this award. From all of us, congratulations, Siona.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. I apologize I couldn't be there live. I'm so excited and happy about this award, and there's a few thanks I want to give. Firstly, I'd like to thank the GIS-LIS Consortium for creating the award and the opportunity. Secondly, I'd like to thank my past mentors and professors at UMD for starting me on this journey. Without you, I wouldn't be here, so thank you, and you know who you are. And thirdly, I'd like to thank the awesome team of folks at Carleton County who nominated me and wrote just wonderful testimonies in my favor. It was an absolute honor to work with you all over the last 3 years. Particularly, I'd like to thank Jared Hovey, the GIS coordinator for Carleton County. I was only half of the GIS team, and we did some really cool things, so props to Jared Hovey. And lastly, I'd like to thank Greg Bernew, the land commissioner, for always trusting us with GIS ideas and just letting us run with things. So thanks everyone, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you for bearing with us, everyone. And we're going to move on now through to the Lifetime Achievement Award. And give me 1 second here, and let's bring that up. All right. The Lifetime Achievement Award recognizes a person or an organization who has made significant contributions in the fields of GIS or LIS that have improved the quality of life for the people of Minnesota. This award is given periodically when warranted. This year's winner, Annette Theroux, will be introduced by Candace Scherenbrock. Thank you, Candace.
Thanks, Hal. It is so exciting to be here today to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to Annette Theroux. So Annette attended Bemidji State University, and then she worked for the Forest Service at the Chippewa National Forest before being recruited to work at ProWest, where she worked for over 24 years. She started as a technician there and worked her way up to not only becoming an owner, but serving as president and CEO of ProWest. She has served ProWest, our region, and the state, and our GIS industry well. Her awards, service, and recognitions are many. She served as a chair of the Minnesota GIS-LIS Consortium, served on the Governor's Council of Geographic Information Committee, was a member of the transition team when the Governor's Council on GIS moved to the Geospatial Advisory Committee. She was a member of the Geospatial Advisory Committee for many years. She co-chaired on the Governor's Council of Geographic Information Data. She was a member of the Minnesota Cadastral I-Team and Land Records Modernization Committee. She coordinated the MinGeo business plan for statewide parcel data integration. She's participated in countless Minnesota GIS-LIS outreach and educational events. She was awarded the Research Partnership Award in 2004 from the University of Minnesota Center for Transportation Studies, which was for her efforts in developing a mechanism for tracking and encouraging spatial parcel data development throughout Minnesota. She has completed a subsequent project then to develop a business plan for statewide parcel integration, for statewide collaboration on parcel data sharing between all levels of government and the public. She was key in ProWest winning the Small Business Administration Subcontractor of the Year Award in 2013 for the work that we did for the Environmental Protection Agency, and she received the Minnesota Polaris Leadership Award in 2005. It is clear that she has dedicated her career to our industry and the state. Annette is a true leader, and a true leader builds leaders who builds leaders. And Annette is definitely a true leader beyond any reasonable doubt. She has taught me and so many others to take what holds you back and use it to move forward, to empower those around you, and to always lead with compassion. She is one of the most extraordinary people I know, and our state and industry is lucky to have her. Thank you, Annette, for your time and commitment to GIS and our state, for building new leaders, and for gracing all of those you meet with your profound gratitude and compassion. Congratulations, Annette, on your Lifetime in GIS Achievement Award.
Thanks, Candace. I feel tired just listening to, I didn't realize I did all that stuff, but it was a span of many decades. So thank you, Candace. I was able to work with Candace for almost 20 years, and I miss working with you. So I appreciate your kind words. I also appreciate the award from the Minnesota GIS-LIS. I always have thought of the GIS-LIS as the premier association in Minnesota that supports GIS professionals. They have so many opportunities for people to engage. And I've learned so much over the years from the organization, and especially from the people that volunteer and put their time into it. So when I look at Hal putting together all of this for the awards, I think of all the time that you put into this, Hal. I'm sure it's significant. Thank you very much. It's gratifying to know that the work that I did was noticed and appreciated, and it's also humbling because there are so many people that give easily of their time and help others. I've been really fortunate. I started working with the Forest Service, as Candace mentioned, and I think I attended the first GIS-LIS conference in 1994, and it would have been, I think at the Radisson maybe, by the airport, I can't remember, but there were about 150 people or so, and I thought that was fantastic. I couldn't believe that there were that many people in GIS in Minnesota, and here we were coming from northern Minnesota, where we didn't know many other people in GIS. And then working with ProWest, the founding partners, Greg Proper and Lee Westfield, were so free with opportunities to serve on the statewide level. They encouraged me to spend time connecting our local and our rural voice to the statewide efforts. And so that was the beginning of the Governor's Council on Geographic Information, and being able to come up with information that would serve our local and our regional clients in northern Minnesota and all over the state, but especially in northern Minnesota. I wanted to tell a little bit about my early start in GIS, because I think some of you may know a little bit about us. Those who are gray-haired possibly know a little bit about what happened 30 years ago. And and maybe some of you others that don't have gray hair might know about this, but GIS has come so far in 30 years. It's just incredible where I started and what's happening now. And so from my perspective, we started in raster software. We didn't even have point line polygon at the time. So we digitized in LT4X and Idrisi and GRASS and maybe some that you've never heard of. And ArcInfo at that time was raster. And so if you wanted to have point line polygon, you actually had to transform the data. So there was no data to begin with. There weren't any road sets, feature sets, or any parcels or hydrography. It didn't exist. And so we had these huge digitizing tablets, and we would lay down paper USGS 7.5-minute quadrangle topo maps. And we had 4 huge map cabinets at ProWest full of those maps. We'd lay them down, tape them, and then we'd register them with this thing that looked like a puck. It had crosshairs. We called it a potato because it was like digitizing with a potato, and you traced over these paper maps. And we used Gizmo files so that we could register them. Gizmo files came from the DNR. That was how we started doing our digitizing, and we digitized forest inventory and roads for 911. Before E911, there was 911. And so we digitized and named many of the roads in the state. So if you go to northern Minnesota and see a name of a road, I know there's some that are cauliflower and, not such great names. We did that. So that was some of the early stuff that we did. Also, just to think about the perspective that I got in being able to stretch to statewide. I went from this local working with the Forest Service and working with ProWest and local government, but then I was also put into positions where I had wonderful mentors who helped me and helped the state develop standards for that data. So there were no standards for the data. There wasn't no 8 base layers that we use now and take for granted. We had to create those standards, create standards for accuracy and how data was developed. So I really am so pleased that I had that opportunity to start at what I thought of as the beginning and move now. It goes from just digitizing on a tablet with a puck, and now we have automation into AI. It's just incredible of what we can do nowadays. One last thing I wanted to mention about my GIS career, and this actually has probably more to do with mapping than it does with GIS, although, that's what GIS comes from. About 4 years ago, I had the opportunity to visit the Library of Congress. ProWest has an employee embedded in the Library of Congress. And so I got kind of the VIP tour of the Library of Congress and was brought down and could see vast rooms and rooms and rooms. There are over 7 million maps there that are being preserved. If you ever have the opportunity when you go to Washington, D.C., you should see this. And so what I was shown were maps from Polynesia. So they made maps millennia ago that were made from shells and natural objects. And also they had what I think was one of the first map books. It was a book about 8.5 by 14 inches, and it was from the 500s AD. It was worth $3.5 million, so all we were allowed to do was hover over it and not touch anything. But it went from mapping using natural objects to here in 500 AD was a map book that was full of maps on papyrus and leather, and it was bound by sinew. And it was more like a representation of what they thought was out there, not necessarily what there was, what they heard from oral stories and what they heard from explorers that traveled the world. They brought it back and they made these incredible maps. And then one of the other maps that I remember really well was one that was hand-drawn from George Washington. George Washington at one time had a lot of land holdings around what is now Washington, D.C. And he made maps that were black and white, but they were hand-drawn by him. And they had measurements. They had distance, direction, and they also had measurements of acreage and different things like that. So very interesting to be able to see that type of planning and mapping work. So in 30 years, I'm astounded about what we've been able to do. And really it is the people that drive our industry. It's the people that you meet every day and the people that give you the opportunities to serve and volunteer. And so I look forward to the next 30 years. I hope I'm around for 30 years. That would be great, because I think GIS is going to grow again. I think it's an industry that evolves. We used to say that we had to reinvent ourselves every 3 years. And I think now it's about every 3 months, because things happen that quickly. So what I would do is encourage you to volunteer for the GIS community, either on the statewide level, the local level, regional level, national, international. The places that you can engage are endless. And I think that for me, it made my perspective much broader, and it also enriched what I did as far as my local GIS. It made a great big difference. So again, thank you to the Minnesota GIS LIS Consortium for this award. I'm very happy to receive it.
Congratulations, Annette. And thank you for your wonderful example. And it's been wonderful for me to get a chance just to interact with you here over the last few months. So we appreciate it. With that, we are going to move to the Polaris Awards. And give me just a moment to bring that up and share my screen. All right, the Polaris Leadership Award recognizes active, established leaders in the geospatial community who are inspiring and leading us through their contributions, their energy, and their creativity. Up to 3 awards are made each year, and this year we have 3 winners. First is Kitty Hurley. Kitty Hurley will be introduced by Corey Richter. And Corey, I'll stop sharing and you can take over.
Thank you very much, Hal. It is absolutely my pleasure to be introducing Kitty Hurley this year. I have to admit that when you contacted me to ask about this, I had a little bit of a fangirl moment as I got to say, yay, I get to introduce Kitty for the award. So for those of you that haven't had the opportunity to meet Kitty, I know you will in the future. For those of you that know her, you know that between her technical expertise and her energy, she's done so much for us. Between setting up different programs within GIS LAS for the Student Assistive Program to help pay for conference hotel rooms, for the interactive conference map when we all used to still be in person. I think we could still do kind of a Zelda thing right now, but that's just my opinion. Maybe we could set that up yet. And all of her work, too, on accessibility with the community as a practice. That work has gone nationwide and is being recognized all over. And I think a lot of us really appreciate the time, effort, and energy that's gone into that. We also appreciate her time in doing recreational activities and getting us together as a community, from MSP map time to fun run to all these different activities that we've gotten together for. So because Kitty has brought a little bit of magic into my life, I'm going to bring a little bit of magic into her life today by handing her award off to her. So here's to you, Kitty.
Thank you, Corey. What a great handoff.
Well done.
And today I provide, thank you, Corey. And today I provided a video for everyone to share since we can't meet in person, and Hal is going to show that for us today.
All right, let me bring that up. Congratulations, Kitty, and let me bring that video up right now.
We meet today virtually in the midst of one of the most unprecedented times that we've experienced in our lifetimes with the global pandemic. As a result, our lives and the relationships we have drastically changed, as has the work and the solutions that we deliver. That brings us to today, as I speak to you with my stand-up paddleboard on one of Minnesota's beautiful 10,000 plus lakes, in place of a podium in a large room together. While our circumstances have altered and we have readjusted the way that we work, much remains the same. Pandemic or not, nothing worth doing is easy or simple. If it were, it would have already been done. Or if not, is it even worth pursuing? Whether it be starting a new job, a seemingly impossible coding problem, or implementing a standard in your organization. Heck, maybe even trying to paddleboard against sustained 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts falls into this category. As we navigate and adapt to the ever-changing worlds, to solve difficult or complex questions, let's challenge ourselves to reach out to someone we haven't previously. To gain a new perspective or insight, research emerging technologies and methods, and most importantly, to fail often. It is through the hard conversations, our in-depth research, and the lessons that we learn that give way to not just great solutions, but extraordinary ones. Our path may not be straightforward, and we may encounter wind gusts, rapids, or even overturn, but it's through our journey, and especially the struggle along the way, where a once complex problem becomes clear and meaningful. It might seem impossible on day one, but hard work day after day pays its dues, and the seemingly far off and the distant result we seek will become within our grasp. It was Susan Cain, the author of the book Quiet, who wrote, "Persistence isn't very glamorous. If genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, then as a culture, we tend to lionize the 1%. We love its flash and dazzle, but great power lies in the other 99%. Great power in the perspiration." Let's start paddling. Thank you.
Thank you, Kitty. And those are some of your mentors, I imagine. Wonderful. Let me stop sharing. And again, congratulations, Kitty, on a fantastic achievement. Our next award winner, our next Polaris award winner is Allie Wieckowicz-Goodnature. And let me bring up. So Allie is the second award winner this year for the Polaris Award, and she will be introduced by Tammy Matteo. Tammy, take it away.
All right, thank you, Hal. Hope you all can hear me okay. Thank you. So I first met Allie, I think around 2006 or 2007, working at the city of Eagan. We were in Logis City. Allie worked for Logis, and we found out we were getting a new GIS support person. And when she showed up at my office for the first time, I had no idea who she was or what kind of impact she would eventually make in my career and the Minnesota GIS community. But I soon found out. Allie has a passion for many things. Not only is she a talented GIS professional and developer, but she also has a lot of other talents that you may not be aware of. Knowing Allie for quite a few years, I will try to share a few of Allie's talents that I know about anyway. So first of all, of course, she is a talented GIS professional, and she's a very, very talented developer and programmer. Many of you have worked with her in that realm. She's also great at database administration and all things technical. But she's also really good at things like plumbing, electrical, carpentry, auto repair. She's an avid runner. She likes to bike, hike. She's an artist. She likes to ice fish, and she is passionate about her horses. She's also very much a nature lover, and of course, she's very passionate about her family and her friends. These are only to name a few of Allie's talents. Allie has made wonderful contributions to the GIS community in Minnesota. She is a very talented developer. Many of you know her work from Logis or MnDOT or MnGeo, but much of the work that Allie has done or is doing is often quietly in the background. She has mentored countless people in GIS and programming, database administration, including myself. I use skills to this day that I learned from Allie. If you read her nomination, this theme is shown throughout the nomination from various people. Allie also served on the Minnesota GIS Board of Directors and was a conference chair in 2012. And anyone who's worked on the annual conference or served as the chair knows how much time and effort and creativity goes into that event each year. Allie gave her own touch to that conference by being the first conference to have a mobile app, which was way before its time back in 2012. I also know Allie as a friend. She has an incredible sense of humor and ability to relate to people. She cares about her friends and her coworkers, and she has an incredible sense of loyalty. I remember when she sat down to tell me when she was leaving Logis to go to work at MnDOT, which was really hard for all of us, but she was really sad because she knew it meant that we wouldn't see each other as much. But she was also very excited for new opportunities, and she's flourished in those opportunities. I learned so much from her, and it has been a joy. It has been a joy to me to see her family grow and her career blossom. With all of the work and contributions Allie has made to GIS in Minnesota, she is more than deserving of this Polaris Award. There's a lot ahead for Allie in her career, and we are all so fortunate to have her as a leader in GIS in Minnesota. I think I can speak for all of us when I say that I can't wait to see what is next for Allie and the things that she's going to do, and the things that she's going to show us how to do. So it is my honor and pleasure to introduce Allie Wieckowicz as 2021 Polaris Award winner. Congratulations, Allie, on your award.
Yay, Allie.
Thank you, Tammy. It's been way too long. I'm so glad I bought a high-res camera so that everyone can see me get really emotional right now. But thank you so much. Wow, this is really hard. It's so overwhelming to be nominated for an award like this, and it's even more nerve-wracking to accept it digitally. So bear with me. I just have a few words of thanks to say. I think I'm really lucky to work with such a tight GIS community because I've always felt very supported by all of my peers. And I hope to do the same for others. And I just want to say thanks to Minnesota GIS LAS because being recognized like this really motivates me to want to do even more. So thanks for giving me this award, but also for having this awards program because it really makes a difference and makes people really want to step outside of their comfort zone and do even more for the community. Everyone knows I really enjoy working on technical projects and working with technical teams. And over the years, I kind of learned how fulfilling it is to fill a role on those teams where your job is to sort of eliminate obstacles for others. And sometimes that means teaching other people and helping them gain knowledge. So I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to work in that capacity with all of you. And I'd also like to say a sincere thanks to all those who have mentored me in the past. There's so many that I can't name everyone with the time I have, and I'd fear missing someone, but I just want you to know that I've thought about you all a lot in the past few weeks. And I'm so grateful to have had an opportunity to learn from you. And I'd also like to say thanks to those who have come to me with their problems and questions. I really appreciate being asked for help solving tough problems or for help gaining knowledge in some area, and it makes me feel appreciated. And Lord knows I am not the most efficient communicator, so thank you for accepting me the way I am and giving me an opportunity to help solve and continue mentoring. And I just want to say every time I act as a mentor, I gain just as much knowledge as I pass on. So I want everyone to know how fulfilling that experience is for me. So thank you very much, everyone.
Wonderful, Allie. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And for our final Polaris Award, we have Ryan Matke introducing Sean Vaughn. And Ryan, I'll take this down and go ahead.
All right, thank you, Hal. So for those of you who don't know Sean, He's been working in the area of hydrology and natural resources for over 30 years, and he has 27 years of experience in geospatial technology. And his colleagues describe him as one of our state's leading experts on creating water courses and defining watershed boundaries from LiDAR projects. So his list of major accomplishments, I would say, is pretty decent. In the late 1990s, Sean pioneered the Minnesota Lakeshed Delineation Project. He was involved in the Minnesota Elevation Mapping Project that received the Governor's Geospatial Commendation Award in 2014. He helped steer the efforts of the DNR and Board of Water and Soil Resources for digital elevation model hydromodification for clean water initiatives. And he served as the chair to the Minnesota LiDAR Research and Education Committee, which led to the establishment of Minnesota's 3D Geomatics Committee and various other subcommittee work groups. I'd say Sean's leadership qualities are what really stood out from the nomination materials. I think his colleagues say it best. So they say that he has been a great mentor to many, that he takes the time to educate those around him, that he always places importance on teaching, listening, and inclusion. He truly cares that others understand how things work. He truly cares about working for the state of Minnesota and about making Minnesota a better place to live for all through his work. And he wants to improve upon the data he manages and bring it to the next level. He has an acute ability to see value where it's overlooked and a critical eye for keeping statewide efforts on the correct path. And in addition to quality professional technical work, Sean always recognizes the need for fostering relationships, not only with direct colleagues, but with other staff and peers. And from the perspective of someone who might have a hand someday in archiving the data that he creates, I especially appreciated this one. It was apparent that he was passionate about the subject matter, but he was also forward-thinking in setting up standards and procedures for data workflow and data management. Sean is obviously greatly respected by his colleagues at the DNR, but the testimonials for his nomination also included colleagues from the University of Minnesota, federal agencies, and private industry. And some of those other comments include that he has been instrumental in organizing natural resource professionals from across Minnesota to understand the fundamentals of watershed delineation and landscape connectivity. He was always available and willing to collaborate with local, state, national, and even international organizations interested in harmonizing watershed boundaries. And one colleague specifically cited Sean's leadership and willingness to work with others across multiple agencies and organizations. And he presents his work at this conference a lot. Someone who nominated him looked it up and said, looking back at 15 years of conference abstracts, there's only 1 or 2 years that Sean has not presented at the conference or been part of a panel. And I will wrap this up with my personal favorite comment, which is that Sean's name is practically synonymous with the terms watershed, DEM hydromodification, and LiDAR. So Sean, congratulations on a well-deserved Polaris Leadership Award.
Wow.
Congratulations, Sean.
Thank you very much. I'm going to start sharing my screen and launch into this. Hal or Ryan, if you would give me a shout when you see the screen.
Good.
We good to go? So folks, I'm not going to be sharing my video. I'm coming to you from East Central Minnesota in the St. Croix River Valley of the northern reaches of the river. So we're in a hole here and we don't always have the best service. The slide I put together here really reflects who I am, and I want you all to know, for those colleagues who know me best, I'm good at scrambling at the last moment. I put this slide together in the last 5 minutes, really in response to Annette's reference to, I think, which was her first conference, 1994, and I said, I think I have the announcement for that. And I pulled this out for all of us to reflect on this. It was 94, the Sheridan Park Place Hotel, and I thought what really was interesting in relation to some of the history as we're touching on our careers here is the introduction to GPS and how we take that for granted, that GPS units are in everything we have today. So I'm glad I held up my reputation and did a mad scramble and pulled this together. So I've been attending these conferences for a long time, and like so many, I really missed last night. I'm one who tends to really enjoy the networking from throughout the night and being with all of our colleagues. An award like this doesn't really come, isn't really even possible with a lot of mentors. And a lot of my colleagues today have certainly mentioned their mentors, and this is my list that stands out. I come from a diverse background within DNR. My whole career has been at DNR, and wanted to mention some of the folks from DNR Wildlife, Lee Hemnes, Kent Solberg, and Dave Pauley. And certainly the hydrologists for my hydro background. I'm a GIS hydrologist, which really means that I've implemented GIS and hydrology together for well, now much of my career, and that's what Ryan was describing. But recognizing Mike Mueller and Jim Solstead, and certainly within the GIS realm, Robert Mackey and Tim Lesh, all of these were fantastic mentors to my career. I also want to put a shout out to the folks who nominated me, and I just really appreciate all the kind words that everyone has given in recognition to my work. I really found this time to be an opportunity to reflect. This is not a Lifetime Achievement Award, but so many of us find the value in reflecting on what gives us, the ability to build upon our careers and be recognized for that. And I thought, I need to find a theme, and that theme for me is topography, and we're going to see why in these other slides. I found topography to be beneficial as I hunt in various landscapes across this country, the mountainous terrains of Colorado, the flat terrain, and Coteau region of North Dakota. Beneficial, influential, and impactful for sure. And on this picture on the left-hand side here, I have no doubt I'm sitting there looking at that very erratic dendritic hydrology in a desert in the Middle East, and probably pondering how in the world did I end up on a mountaintop in the Middle East in the first place. But some very unique topography there. As a U.S. Army airborne paratrooper, the map, a protractor, and a compass was our life at that time. It was a long time ago. It was before GPS, which is why I found a unique reference to that program in 1994 saying Intro to GPS. But topography was beneficial and very impactful to us in our essentially survival or understanding where we're going, where we've been. And I was a radio telephone operator, carrying that radio on my back. I had to know everywhere we've been and where we're going, so I could communicate as the lifeline to my airborne infantry platoon back in 86 and 89. Impactful, the reference to topography as an airborne paratrooper. They're coming down, descending from an aircraft at a lateral drift of 9 miles an hour during the day is a luxury. We call this a Hollywood jump, but nonetheless, our eyes were on the ground below, and that ground had topography, and I'm staring at a ravine below me with a whole lot of trees. I was able to slip out of this drop zone known as St. Mary Glees on Fort Bragg, North Carolina. We would hit the ground, pull out a map, pull out a compass, look at the aircraft as they flew away. That gave us a sense of direction. Descended into the tree line and navigated from there to link up with the rest of the platoon. So topography was everything then for me. Early in my career, I got hired on to create the DNR Watershed Delineation Project that ran from 1997 to 2011. And really what it did is it updated the data, much like Annette's presentation and discussion, talking about how we used pucks and tablets to digitize and everything and bring it in a digital world. And that's what I did with watersheds. And so it's probably not exaggeration to say that my eyes have studied probably every square mile in the state. But my real passion since the year 2002, when we wrote our first white paper, has really been LiDAR. I've really seen it all along as a truly foundational and really quite amazing data product that revolutionizes how we can manage Minnesota's natural resources. It's a vehicle for us to convey to our stakeholders, our citizens, what's going on in the landscape, because a lot of people can't interpret a massive amount of contour lines on a single individual map. It gives us that larger landscape perspective. And it's just so unique to go from an airplane flying over to building the point cloud as you see here, classifying those points, building different layers and pulling them out and creating a DEM as you see here in the lower right-hand side. And so that's a lot of what I've been about in promoting these data products and ensuring that we use this data properly, creating digital elevation models with unique colorful spectrums you see here on the left. And much of my career, especially for the last 15 years, has been largely focused on the modification of digital elevation models so we can use it in the hydro world for hydrologic modeling. And then exploiting the topography and the water movement on Earth's landscape is very important to me. That's why I created the hydrographic position index that are used in many applications today. And so to wrap this up, I just want to say thanks to everyone who nominated me and the kind words and the acceptance and presentation of this award. It really is pretty special. So thank you very much, everyone, and hope you enjoy this perspective of topography in my personal life and in my work life.
Congratulations, Sean. Well done, and thank you as well. That concludes our GIS LIS awards for 2021. Thank you, everyone who came on board today, and all the hard work from the conference committee.